In this lesson video, I'm going to show you an example of how to solve linear equations using the modeling tiles that you've seen in the previous lessons. I think it's a good idea to see how to solve using the tiles just because it gives you a visual in your mind of what it looks like and what we're actually doing. And so I'm just going to show you one example with this. So our job is to solve the equation using the tiles, and we're going to show the steps that we do with the tiles with the equation. Okay, and notice in this little blurb right here, it says our goal is to get all of the x tiles on one side and all of the 1 tiles on the other side. Okay, so looking at how this is set up, remember that these represent a positive x, these represent a negative x. This represents a positive 1, and this represents a negative 1. It looks like all the x's are mostly over here, so we're going to put the x's over here. And in this box, we're going to put the 1 tiles. Okay, just because that's kind of how it's leaning so far. Okay, the first step is we want to simplify the expressions on either side. Okay, so looking at this side of the equation, so the left side, we're going to find any 0 pairs that we can. So 0 pairs would be a positive x and a negative x. That would be a 0. And there's another positive x and a negative x. So that would be a 0 pair. In our equation, what we did was we took 5x and simply subtracted 2x, leaving us with 3 x's. And everything else stays the same. So notice there's our 3 x's. Okay, now that this side is simplified, we've found all the 0 pairs that we can. Our next job is to follow this goal. We want all of the x's on this side and all of our 1 tiles on this side. So it's looking like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have negative 8 1 tiles on this side. And I need them to not be on this side anymore. So how do I get them to go away on this side? I need to make 0 pairs. So if I put in 8 positive 1 tiles, that would mean that I create a bunch of 0 pairs. A negative 1 and a positive 1 is 0. A negative 1 and a positive 1 is 0. A negative 1, positive 1, 0, and so on. So you can see by adding a positive 8 on this side, I'm able to make a bunch of 0 pairs. Okay, so that's like adding 8 over here. Okay, but I can't just add 8 over here. That changes my equation completely. And so in order to keep things balanced and in order to keep things straight, I need to do the same thing on both sides. So if I add positive 8 over here, think of it like a scale. In order to keep it balanced, I have to add positive 8 to this side too. So if I add positive 8 to both sides, it doesn't change my equation. So that means on this side I need to add a positive 8 as well. So let's see what that looks like now. We have 3x minus 8 plus 8. A negative 8 and a positive 8, that cancels out, that's 0. So we're left with 3x equals 4 plus 8, which is 12. Okay, now my last job. I have 3 x tiles over here. I'm gonna maybe, well, let's see. I think I copied those ones. So once I get to this point, I'm gonna have to redraw these ones. Actually, let's just, okay. So I have 3 x tiles and I have 12 1 tiles. Now I need to assign the same amount of 1 tiles to each x tile. So it's like I'm gonna divide them all into groups. So I can put 4 here, and 4 here, and 4 here. Okay, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's the 12 1 tiles just separated into 3 separate groups, 1 for each x. So over here what that looks like is I separate 12 into 3 separate groups. So I divide it by 3, and I divided the x's into 3 groups. And 3 divided by 3 is 1, so I have x, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. So I found that x equals 4, and that's what this is telling me here. I have x equals 4, x equals 4, x equals 4. So using the tiles, I found that x equals 4, and following the steps with the tiles on the equation, I also found that x equals 4. Now, if you like using tiles to solve equations, then I would recommend that you draw the pictures as you're solving equations on your assignment, but just use it for practice and then try to get to the point where you can just do this part without needing the tiles. Okay, go ahead and move on to your next example video, and I'll show you how we can do it just with the equation.